All right, let's bring in Kayleigh McEnany, former White House press secretary and Fox News analyst for the first time. And now that you're on the team,
welcome.
Kayleigh, congratulations. Welcome.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. So good to officially join you guys.
So what have you been doing? I haven't been keeping up. I'm only kidding.
I've been going to the zoo with my daughter, having a lot of fun.
All right, you had a couple of weeks off, but in between you had one of the hardest jobs in America,
No.
in front of the most hostile audiences in America. I'm just shocked. I know the President Trump, his approach was, I'm going to back up the states. They know their people better. They know their state better than me. And he got criticism for that. The states want their autonomy. Are you surprised at the tone and those comments because Governor Abbott wanted to open up his state as well as the governor of Mississippi and soon Alabama?
Yeah, I actually am surprised. He was supposed to be the great uniter. Obviously, that wasn't the case, but this is what Democrats do to people who think differently than them. Tate Reeves was spot on. They call us deplorable over at CNN. They call us unintelligent rubes who can't point to countries on a map. This is what Democrats do to people who think differently, and you're spot on to tie this to autonomy. Simply giving freedoms causes Joe Biden, the great uniter, to call us Neanderthals, among other words that his predecessor Hillary Clinton did as well.
Look at the map, though, Kayleigh. He's acting like Texas is the first one to do this, or Mississippi is. But look, there are 15 states already that are not requiring masks. Alabama is saying that they're set to expire the mask mandate tomorrow.
Yeah, that's right. And they're seizing this pandemic and using it to control people. That is what they've done from the beginning. And when President Trump pointed to the science and said, hey, reopening is what we need to do because there are repercussions when you lock down, they called him anti-science. And when in July I stood at the podium and said, it's time to open schools, the science is here, they said we're not following the science. This is basic autonomy. We're in a different place now than we were many months ago. And governors like Ron DeSantis and other great governors down here in Florida, he allows people to make their own choices, and they do so intelligently.
And these are some of the things that some of the reporters at the White House would like to ask Joe Biden. But, he really has not been available. He hasn't, and we're going to show you the statistics in a moment, he hasn't done a one-on-one solo interview, press conference with the White House press corps yet. But there was something interesting, and we played it earlier, Kayleigh. Don't know if you saw it or not, but Joe Biden was doing a Zoom call with House Democrats. He'd been introduced by Nancy Pelosi, and it looks like when Joe goes off script, his handlers realized, wait a minute, we got to pull the plug on him. Watch this and then figure out what happened.
I'm happy to take questions if that's what I'm supposed to do, Nance, whatever you want me to do.
Well, it looks like he was not supposed to take questions, but it could have been one of those things that we have seen in the past where only his initial comments are telecast and then they break into discussion groups that are not seen by the public. But nonetheless, why hasn't he had a solo press conference? That's the big question. Is it like the campaign where he was hiding in the basement?
It's exactly like the campaign. That was his strategy all the way along. Hide in the basement, don't talk to the American people. Now get to the White House, hide in another figurative basement, his Oval Office, never going out to the Brady press briefing room. But look, that's what President Trump offered. He gave transparency. This was someone, I would say to him, hey, maybe today we won't take questions. He was always willing to take questions, always willing to go to the podium, always willing to stop, as Ainsley said earlier, on his way to the helicopter. Transparency is what he offered, and Joe Biden vowed transparency. Now he set a 100-year record for not going to the podium like all of the presidents before him.
The thing is, Kayleigh, it worked. It worked. He got elected by staying in his basement most of the campaign. Is this going to work? Do you think they'll just say, look, he's already in office, we control what he does, and we're never going to let him do a press conference?
Yeah, I think they have to do a press conference at some point. Jen Psaki has said they will. The pressure is mounting when you have folks, even CNN reporters, pointing out how aberrational this is. So I think the pressure is mounted. His handlers may cut him off with those bars there, but they can only do so for so long. Yes.
Yeah, it's interesting, too. And by the way, just on the last point, he wants to give, the Governor Abbott and these other governors want to give people the freedom. It doesn't mean that Kroger can't make their own decision. Costco can't make their own decision. They want you to wear a mask. JCPenney's, Macy's, okay, Starbucks. They're giving you the ability to make your own decisions.
Right.
And please show me where lockdown is more effective than freedom. Florida has better numbers than California and New York. So that's the point. It's not go crazy. No, you have the obligation to, you now have the freedom to do what you want. But let's talk about your job first, the job you used to have for a second. You know, you don't have you had those big binders in front of you. I understand it. You had almost answers every single time. You knew roughly where they were going to go. But listen to Jen Psaki's new go-to line.
It's a great question. I have not talked to our national security team about it. I would point you to the Department of Education for any more details on the writing of the proclamation. In terms of specific conversations, I'd refer you to the State Department. They would have more specifics. I would send you to DHS for any more specifics. I don't know yet if it will include specific recommendations. I don't know that I have more specifics to lay out. I don't have anything for you on it. I'm happy to check with our team on it. I'm happy to circle back with our team on that specific report. Circle back, circle back, circle back, circle back. I hate to disappoint conservative Twitter, but I am going to circle back.
So, I mean, you can't have anticipate every question, but is that acceptable? You're like it's like you're a crossing guard.
Look, I've said before, and I mean it, I wish Jen Psaki all the best. It's a very hard job. Yeah. But that being said, you know, we took great pains in our administration to do hours and hours and hours of research beforehand, days sometimes, calling Secretary Azar firsthand, calling Carrie Kupak over at the Justice Department to get answers. And the great thing about being in the Trump White House was I always knew where my boss stood. Unlike other press secretaries that maybe didn't have walk-in privileges to the Oval, I could walk in at any time. I always knew where he stood. Before every press conference, I would go in with a list of items that I thought the press would ask and go through one by one. I always knew where his head was at, so I didn't have to do a ton of circling back because President Trump gave a lot of access to me.
Well, I have heard from people in the press room that they actually do eventually get back to the reporter and try to answer their question, either Jen Psaki or somebody from the communications team, just not on camera. Let's talk a little bit about what's going on Capitol Hill. You know, one of the reasons that Joe Biden had that Zoom with Democrats was he's obviously trying to make sure everybody's on board with the $1.9 trillion stimulus. When you look at the numbers, the economy is coming to the point where we're pretty much where we were before the pandemic. And so a lot of Republicans say, look, we don't need to be spending close to $2 trillion on this. It's money we don't have. We know people want their checks. We get that. But so much of that bill is just stuff that is not coronavirus related.
That's exactly right. It's pet projects. Only, 9% goes to COVID. And what Joe Biden should do is instead of just paying lip service to bipartisanship on this, he should actually do it because President Trump, back in our administration, we managed to get 3-4 pieces of bipartisan COVID legislation. And what Joe Biden's done, he said he was going to unite. He said he was going to engage in bipartisanship. So what he does is this gimmickry of, oh, I've talked to this many Republican elected officials, but he never takes a step towards them. It was the previous administration that got bipartisan COVID relief. Is it Neanderthal
thinking?
It is Neanderthal thinking. I'll use his word and throw it right back at him.
So you did a great job with Harris Faulkner the other day. We were all watching that interview. Congratulations on being a part of the Fox family, coming back to the Fox family. You got your television start here, and now you're coming back, so we're happy and proud of your career. What's the future of the GOP? Where do we go from here?
Look, I think where we go from here is where the people take us, and the people have sent an unmistakable message that they still support President Trump. The polling shows that. There are other incredible leaders who have said, hey, the party's going in this direction. I'm going to go that way too, like Ron DeSantis, Kristi Noem, the Vice President, Mike Pence, an amazing person, Josh Hawley, who you just had on. The leaders of our party need to follow the direction the people take us, because I'm so proud that at this last election, we got the most black vote any president had gotten in 20 years, biggest Hispanic vote in 16 years. I mean, it's extraordinary the way this party has opened up, and we need to continue to welcome more and more people into this tent.
Kayleigh, a lot of speculation on the relationship between the former president, President Trump, and Vice President Pence. He wasn't at CPAC. The president had a very strong speech at CPAC. So did Ron DeSantis, had a great show, and Kristi Noem. Where was Mike Pence? What could you tell us about the relationship between those two? Because you couldn't get a piece of paper between them for 4 years, and now they don't seem to be in communication. What's the truth?
It's amicable. I'm not, fully read into their relationship, but from what I've heard, they're on great terms. Vice President Mike Pence is an amazing man who stood by President Trump's side, was there every step of the way, understands the Trump movement, understands people of faith in the evangelical community. He has a huge voice in this party going forward, and Vice President Pence and President Trump, they're on the same page.
All right. Kayleigh McEnany, former White House press secretary, now part of our team. Kayleigh, thank you very much for joining us live today.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Kayleigh.